I've resisted this conversation for a long time, but I think it's time that we talk about emotional intelligence. Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. William Roy, and I have resisted this idea of emotional intelligence for a long time. Not because I don't think that it's valid skill sets that are worth cultivating, and that is the right way to think about it as skill sets, but I am opposed, or let's say I have some issues with the naming of these skill sets. So let's backtrack a little bit. So originally, when I first encountered this idea of emotional intelligence, I was all in. I read the book, I took the test, I worked on myself, I became more approachable, I became someone who exercises more self-awareness and can understand how my responses or my words affect the emotions of others, and more aware of what my emotions are at any given time. So that's good. But as I began to work on my doctoral degree in industrial and organizational psychology, which is really psychology of the workplace or becoming an expert on human behavior in the workplace, I began to disagree with the naming of it, because intelligence, pure intelligence, original intelligence, is hard to measure. It's hard enough to measure without introducing all these different types of intelligences. And the last I did a survey, there are about 26 or 28 other types of intelligence out there that people have named. So when you're developing and using a scientific instrument, there are a couple things that you want to have in place. You want to have validity and you want to have reliability. Okay, for the sake of accuracy, validity and reliability are crucial concepts in research. Reliability refers to the consistency and the stability of measurements or findings. It assesses whether a measurement tool produces stable, dependable results when used repeatedly under the same conditions. So if you're measuring intelligence, IQ, you can measure my IQ when I'm 20. You can measure it when I'm 30, 40, 50. And the intelligence score should be relatively the same, regardless of when you run that test. Now, validity relates to the accuracy and truthfulness of results, or does it predict what it claims to predict? It ensures that the study measures what it intends to measure, or that the instrument measures what it intends to measure. So these are issues that I have with emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence, your score on emotional intelligence can be different depending on when you take it and what's going on in your life and what you've worked on. So you take it today, you work on different areas, let's say self-awareness, and then you take the assessment again, and now your scores are higher. That doesn't fulfill the requirements of validity and reliability. And so that's an issue I have with it. So what do we do with that? What do I do with that? Because here's the other issue. 71% of all CEOs believe that emotional intelligence is important, and high emotional intelligence is important in their leadership teams and the people they hire. And yet only 22% of people in the workplace show high levels of emotional intelligence. So if CEOs view this as important, I had to reconcile this in my own mind and my own thoughts. And the way I've done so is this: emotional intelligence is a skill. It's a skill set. It's not a true type of intelligence. It's a skill set. And each and every one of us can develop these skills. And so by teaching emotional intelligence as a set of skills that can be nurtured and developed over time, I can now approach it in a way that makes sense scientifically, makes sense to my academic mind as well as my professional business mind, because I also have an MBA and an accounting degree, bachelor's. So I have decided that emotional intelligence is a concept that can and should be approached in business, but it should be approached as a set of skills to be developed. Now let's dig into that a little bit more, shall we?